Hello, welcome. We're here to talk Silo, season 3, episode 4. I got a couple guests with me. I'm gonna go around and have them introduce themselves and give me some overall thoughts on this episode, which I think was the best one so far this season. I'm curious to hear if you guys will agree with me. Of course, the big reveal is one thing, but I just think overall had the best. It built up the best for me. Like I was really engaged. There wasn't a whole lot of like, where is this going? What's happening? What I mean? It was just, I felt like I was plugged in the whole time. It led to something, that I thought was going to happen, but I was it just seemed like it was, I still don't know how it happened. Like we'll definitely discuss that, but, something, a nice payoff at the end. And, so let's start with you, A.Ron. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you thought about this episode? And since it is your first time joining us for Silo this season, you could kind of do an overall of what you thought of season 3 so far. Oh, you're muted. Still muted.
Do you want me to go, Pete?
Yeah, go ahead and go, Chris, while he sorts that out.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Chris. You can find me on TikTok as Cris Cinema. So CRIS Cinema. I've been doing Silo recaps every single week, and I generally cover, doing TV recaps, reviews, other industry discussion, and I dabble in film and award season as well. I really like this episode a lot. I think it was probably the best of the season so far. I think the twist with Sims and making his character a lot more complicated than we might have thought is really makes the narrative that we're entering really, really interesting. Bernard is obviously changing the landscape a lot. I think we're finally moving a little bit forward with the past storyline. I think that's still taking a little bit longer, but I think there was really good character development there that will pay off later. So yeah, on the whole, I was really, really happy with that episode.
Yeah, that was the thing that when we were talking, you're one of the people who I talk about this show with, since we both see it a little bit earlier or whatever. And that was one of the things. It's like, man, they really made Sims a lot more interesting in this episode. Like you cannot deny that. So I think your mic's working now, A.Ron.
Is it test? Do I sound fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're okay.
All right. What do I think of this season? I think the season's pretty good. I saw the trailer and I remember hearing a lot of people preseason be like, oh my God, it's a memory loss issue. And I remember talking to you because correct me if I'm wrong, but you've read the books, right?
Yes. I am. I guess maybe we should make that clear. You have not, right?
No.
Right. So
it's a rare instance that I have.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do live streams, is because it's hard for me to speculate about anything, because you can kind of like, they're pretty far off the book. And that's, like as far as like directly, but you can still kind of see what they're going at, and speculating for me is pretty much out the window. So that's why I wanted to invite people on who hadn't read the books. And
So I remember you saying the structure of the book too would make it hard. Like if they just like straightforward did that, like Rebecca Ferguson would not be in an entire season.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, well that makes a lot of sense. So I've had a lot of people be, because like there's a lot of fatigue anytime you see like faulty memory. It's like, oh, bad soap opera. But I felt like this was different because the amnesiac drugs were a part of the lore, like they were part of the world. It's like something, it's like kind of standard operating procedure. So the fact that they would rob her of her memories since she survived the ordeal did not blow my hair back. So I've been enjoying it, but I will say that there's a point in this episode where I'm like, golly, how much more of me waiting for Rebecca Ferguson to figure out the truth that I already know am I going to be, because then it's like I was getting a little fatigued, but like I felt like finding Lucas Kyle, finding Bernard, which was wild. I feel like I'm back on the things, and I'm really I got a bunch of wild theories. I don't know what the state of the art theory is on like what's going on and the stuff that's happening in Iran and the dirty bomb and all that, but I still don't have a clear idea of what in the heck is going on in the Silo project.
I definitely want to hear your crazy theories for sure. Did you where are you from? Where did you come from?
The depths of hell. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio, and you can find me on the internet at baldmove.com with my partner Jim. Producers Talith and Max occasionally join us as well, and we talk about all your favorite television and movies. Right now we're talking about Silo. Just got done wrapping up The Bear and Star City. We're about ready to start Dark Matter season 2, and our premiere podcast right now is House of the Dragon. We do 3 podcasts a week on that show. I'm something of a lore expert on A Song of Ice and Fire. I'm a published author on the subject. But yeah, if you like to hang around and talk about cool TV, check out baldmove.com.
Yeah. So I think that if we talk about anything else, we're going to just keep coming back to Bernard, because that is the big thing here. We were talking a little bit before we came on, and it's a pretty pure cliffhanger. Like, they don't really explain how it happened. They don't really explain what's going on with him. I mean, he looked not exactly well. Like, I don't expect him to jump up and start doing calisthenics or anything. Like, he looks like he might spend the rest of his time on the show in that bed, or, you know, at least he's not going to be at 100%. All of that is completely off book. Like, there's Bernard exists in the book, but they expanded his character a lot. Like, he was just an annoying IT guy, sort of like Sims was just a annoying security guard guy, basically. You know, like, they were pretty not a whole lot to even remember about them, besides the role that they played and the way that they were antagonistic towards the people that you want to do good, like Juliette. So I guess the biggest thing, like, we could speculate on how he survived or what that means if you want, but I think what's most interesting to me at this point is, like, what does him being there change? Like, what does he bring to the story? Because, like you said, it has been a little bit stuck. You know, we're ready for this push forward. How does Bernard change things?
Well, at this point in time, he's the only person that knows the who of who's running the silo, right? Because I remember in that scene at the end of the season 2 finale, you know, Juliette says that she knows about the safeguard, and so she knows the what, and then Bernard knows the who and the what, but not the why. That was how they framed it for us. So I think just him being there will be how we as an audience get that information, how Juliette's going to get the information, and then he can help her remember, because he probably knows her. I wouldn't say, I mean, maybe he knows her the most. I mean, they were antagonistic towards each other, but they really had a lot of back and forth in season 1. So I think all those things together will help, but I'm not sure if we should be looking at him as more of an antagonistic figure or as a helping figure for Juliette.
As this again, one of your chatters, Hippopotamus Bosch, which A+ username. Tim Robbins is hiding in a tunnel behind a poster of Rita Hayworth. It would be hilarious if one of these tunnels they've cut into the mines through the outside of the silo would be covered with a Rita Hayworth poster. I would like that a lot. What I think is interesting about the season is how many factions there are, and how I could not definitively tell you who is on what faction, right?
Yeah.
Because there's, you know, obviously Sims knows something. Obviously Camille, his wife, is on, you know, she's essentially in the old Bernard team, the silo system. You got Walker and McLean, who are doing something that it doesn't seem like Knox and Sherrill would understand. And I don't even know if McLean and Walker are knowing what the other's doing. McLean's got a new shot. There's outsiders that seem like they're separate from everybody because they're not even on the same page about going outside. And the thing is like, but I have no idea because I'm not totally sure that Knox and Shirley aren't part of, the still part of the Rebel network or whatever. So I think that Bernard is going to be, I'm hoping, a Rosetta Stone to where we can start seeing like what are all the factions,
Yeah.
that are fighting for control of the silo, and who are they working for, and who's on everyone's team. So I'm hoping to get a little, because the big question is, why the hell would Walker be complicit in saving Bernard? Because she's the one that sealed off. Is it Walker or McLean? I think it was Walker. They said sealed
Walker,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
So why the hell would she want to keep Bernard alive?
Yeah, it's a good question. And, they obviously had, the big scene in the season 2 finale where she tried to blow up the staircase and had the countdown. Like they were definitely not on good terms. And he duped her, or she duped him at the end. But I'm glad you brought that up, the different factions, because I think this episode did a pretty solid job of showing that they are not working together. Like you would think anything Walker's doing, Shirley and Knox would know about, but they clearly didn't. Like when Shirley took Juliette down to the digger void, she had no idea what was on the other side of that door.
Yep,
as far as I
can
tell. So that's surprising.
Right.
Then, the outsiders, they're just doing their own stuff. Like they're basically just chaos. They just want to go outside. They're pretty effective at creating chaos currently, but like they didn't know about any of the other stuff. They didn't know that they thought Lucas was dead. They didn't believe him initially about what's really going on. So, there was that internal thing, but I think they're coming around to be like, okay, Lucas is someone we can trust.
I'm wondering too, did McLean also get kidnapped? Because she just has not popped up. They keep talking about her. Like, where is she? She hasn't popped up.
She's got a new shadow, and her shadow disappeared. Yeah.
And they clearly wanted to be in charge of that department, right? So you had the head's gone, now her replacement shadow's gone, and now the shadow that they wanted to lead the department is in that spot. So I don't know if they're just faking that they don't know where
because that's the other thing is like the mining guy seems like he might be on a faction. I forgot about Lucas Kyle, who's running around in the mines. But did Harwood know about that? So it's like there could be 5 factions as far as I can tell, and half of them seem to be working kind of in the same direction, but not working together. And then the other, you got the Camille and most of the citizens of Silo are the business as usual track. And then you got the outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
Mining is the biggest question mark to me. Because I feel like mining, they just keep giving us these little bits every single episode. And they're obviously antagonistic in some way. I mean, unless there could be some twist, but all the arrows are pointing that mining is responsible for Orla Kent's death. And what I got from this episode is I thought that they were basically almost trying to frame Orla for the disappearance of the critical supplies. Because when the ex-boyfriend was talking to Billings, he was like, oh, last time I saw her was in front of critical supply. And, she's a bit of a troublemaker. So it seemed like he was trying to lead Billings to come to the conclusion that she was responsible for that. And then they could pin that crime on a dead person and then continue to take from critical supply. But to what end? I feel like I really have no information there.
That seems bad, right? If the word critical is in the name, you probably don't want to be stealing from that. So that I don't really know. Like, I mean, I have guesses as what is what critical supply is all about, but they haven't really explained it on the show, except for that, Orla thought someone was stealing. Mike, she was talking to Mike about her investigation. Mike Davidson, the guy who's everybody's boyfriend in Supply. He just dates the shadow of Supply, no matter who it is. He, like she was talking to him about that, and then we see him lie to Billings in this episode because she told him she was going to go look into something at construction. She ends up dead by getting hit by rebar. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, and they're clearly moving us in that direction, but they're also keeping it a mystery as far as what's actually happening.
Yeah, I think all we know about Critical Supply really is they said it was light bulbs, computers, things like that.
Things that they can't manufacture themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like nothing, like when you hear the word light bulb, but when you're underground and you have no way of restocking stuff,
it was a big deal in Silo 17 not having power and lights. Yeah.
Like it would be just, I mean,
do they pipe in can they pipe in sunlight? They don't do that, do they?
It doesn't really seem like it. I mean, there might be, they have something. I think those are just lights at the top of the silo and I felt like that they had some kind of light, because I was thinking like light's not just important, but like aren't there crops on like level 60? How the hell are you going to grow crops without light? There's grow lights. That's what they talk about in the books a lot.
I know you can do that, but I'm saying if you run out of light bulbs, people are thinking about not being able to see.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
I'm talking about where the hell are you going to get light? You need photosynthesis. That's where all the food chain starts.
Yeah, I don't think they do. I don't think they actually do have
mushrooms.
I mean, at least it's not visible from. We've seen the aerial shots so many times now, and there's no visible windows or.
Why did I think that like there was a starting scene in the beginning of this season where it seemed like they were opening up a shutter and there was this wild lighthouse prism that was reflecting, or is that just a big light collection up there?
They do that. Yeah, they do have that opens up, but I think they might just be lights that are behind that, which would be another reason why light bulbs would be pretty critical. You don't want to run out of them.
But my idea on that is because I feel like they're telling the story that these silos are past their expiration dates. The fact that mining is essentially run out of places to mine within their 200-foot radius. But there's potentially infinite food and infinite energy apparently, as long as they can keep repairing that thing. But I feel like because if you want to ask, like, well, how long does the silo have left? With that critical supplies, that might be a hard answer to calculate, right? So I feel like they're giving us critical supplies as just a shorthand for like the silos boned long term.
Mm-hmm.
But because otherwise it's like, okay, well, you can talk about purification, water purification, and the generator and all that, but like. Yeah, and then we know they can mine. So if they're out of mining and they're running out of critical resources, then and they need light bulbs to grow food. They're kind of boned.
Yeah, and people are. And it's definitely believable that if people could steal and get rich or get some extra credits in the meantime, that. We're short-sighted in that way that would be like, you just kick the can down the road. That'll be fine. We've been here for 352 years. We're not going to run out. There's plenty. I think Walker is a really interesting question. And like you said, Carla has been conspicuously just not in this. And I don't know if that's an actor thing, if like the actor just wasn't available for part of their filming or something like that, or if there's a big secret. Because I mean, remember, Walker didn't leave her apartment for years,
right?
Until this happened, right? So I don't know if there's something with that. That seems a little bit repetitive to have Carla doing the same thing that Walker did for so long. But she's not like I think Glenda said in this episode that she hasn't been there for months, which made you think that since the rebellion happened. But there's nothing else to go off of there.
And that's another question I have is like, why is the algorithm being so chill about people making some of these big changes? Like, wouldn't it be more concerned about like, where the hell is our head of supply? You know?
Well, I think they established through Bernard's character that the algorithm relies on IT to understand what's happening. Like they're not
Really.
They're not like omniscient in that they can see everything that's happening in every silo all the time.
So why would they I guess like why would they design it that way? Because
I mean, it might just be like it might just be logistics. I mean, there's 50 silos. Could they is it possible? I mean, I guess if you're talking about automation and things like that.
Well, but I'm saying is like I'm assuming that Camille would not conceal that information unless people have a theory, because I kind of was working on a theory that Camille and Sims were like trying to essentially jerk around the algorithm until they could figure out some way to outthink it. But I figured that Camille, but now I'm kind of pretty much certain that Camille is 100% she's just trying to save the silo, like probably anybody or most people would. But yeah, I'm not sure why it wouldn't, like, if Camille's not telling her everything about it, but you'd think like keeping up with the major heads of the departments would be something the AI could do, you know. And yeah. I guess I'm kind of surprised that it doesn't have eyes and ears actually in the silo.
I guess we don't know what the technology was like when they actually made this in the first place. Because I mean, the same way, yes, we keep calling it the algorithm, but we don't actually know what it is. So it might sound more, again, if that's like, basically, if it's a real person on the other line and not an algorithm, then their tech might not actually be that far ahead, really. Like, I think the fact that we're all like, okay, well, that's an AI makes us think, well, okay, if they have an AI that's this smart, then of course they should have so much technology for surveillance in the silo. But if they were kind of just like at our current level of tech, I don't know, maybe they just didn't have that capability. I mean, even now, I think all the cameras that they have in the control room, I don't think it has audio. I think it's just visuals. So it's kind of a regular security guard network.
I was scanning I was getting nervous that someone was spoiling in the chat, but it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Okay.
So sorry, I got a little.
Yeah, we're no book spoilers is what we're asking for, right?
Yeah, definitely not. So you're talking about the, you know, is it a person? Is it someone? You know, like, is it an algorithm, or is that just what we're supposed to believe, right?
Yeah, I'm not certain, because the only reason we think that is I'm now having a thing where I'm like, have they ever said algorithm out loud, or is it only from the subtitles?
I think it's only the subtitles. Like, she never, like, Sims calls it the voice, you know what I mean? So
right, they've never said that out loud. So I think it was kind of leading us a certain way, but without the characters actually discussing it that way necessarily.
And, you know, there is a consistency, but we talked about it in other streams about how sometimes it seems to react like a person. Like, that seems to be, sometimes Camille will say something and it'll like interrupt her or do things that you wouldn't necessarily expect an AI to do.
Yeah, exactly. It does seem pretty human. And again, it just depends on what the level of tech was when they went underground, right? Because our AIs right now would not be that human.
Yeah,
you could make an argument if you're like, well, they were like farther ahead in technology and those AIs are a lot better and could be more human in that way.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is my partner, Jim, who's my co-host, a connection he made. I don't think it's been confirmed, but Is the voice of Daniel the congressman the same voice as the algorithm? Because Jim asserted that, and every single time he said it, I'm like, God damn, he's right. It sounds right to me. But I don't think there's a credited voice.
I don't think so. I think in the behind the scenes stuff, like I've heard people say that it is the actor.
Because I was like, because with my first, I'm like, well, what's the significance of it? Like, how can I see Daniel going from trying to find out the truth about his sister to not just supporting a silo project, but like contributing the voice of the AI for it? And I just came up with Bupkis, but I gotta say, every single episode I've seen since, I'm like, that sounds like Daniel. That sounds just like Daniel. But again,
I
don't
saw
know
a lot
what
of
it
comments
means.
on that.
Yeah, like I said, I think they did say that the voice is modulated or whatever, so it's not necessarily supposed to be him, but they use the same actor, and I imagine there will be a reason for that, but that they didn't say anything about that so far. In the before times, you know, as far as we know, this silo project it doesn't exist yet. Or at least no one has talked to anybody about it. That is kind of like, it seems like they made that about the same time as that seems like about present day, like a similar, right? It doesn't seem like it's very far in the future. But a project of that scale would take decades to make, right? Like they're not going to be like, oh, let's build some silos, and then in a year those things will be done. Like that's going to take time, correct?
Yeah, I do think it would take a while to build, but I think they do have the tech because it's going to be what Daniel worked on in Georgia, right? They said he basically invented
the tunneling tech.
What's it called? The digger machine.
Not being able to disturb the surface so they can do it covertly. But also there's, I don't know. I'm doing the thing I hate, which is people like, I saw the scenes in a trailer and it hasn't been, but like I can't unsee the crowds touring the silo. So it's like I feel like they're setting this up to be some kind of secret thing, and then
I did not.
Yeah, it's almost like
okay.
like am I crazy, Pete? Or were there like and there's signs and like kids and families, and they're like, oh wow, and there was green grass, like there wasn't like a blast.
Like I can't comment on any of that because those things are straight from the books. Like I know exactly what's happening in those scenes.
So like I thought it was like.
Did you see the other one?
Super secret Sorry.
Did you see the other trailer though? They put one out a few weeks ago that was super spoilery for the rest of the season.
Now, was that the season ahead? Because I don't usually watch those.
Yeah. If you saw it, you would be like, "Oh my god, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about." Like they give away a lot about what's going to happen in the before times in this thing. I forget what the name was. I asked a couple people if they had seen it, and I sent it to my editor saying, you know, this is a little bit spoilery. And a few minutes later, he said, man, I wish I would have thought before I actually clicked on that.
Why would
I gotta be honest, I've missed a lot of this.
It's on the main line. It's on the mainline Apple TV YouTube channel. And it's something about, I forget what the name of it is, but it shows a bunch of weeks ahead scenes for the before time specifically that show some pretty interesting stuff if you don't know what's happening. Like I would not recommend it necessarily if you want to be free to speculate what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away. It's so funny because with other shows, I'm normally so insane about consuming every single bit of content. And yet for this one, I've been really okay with just staying in the dark and watching each episode as they come. You know, and then because I've been watching like the screeners, I never see any of the like previews for the next week. So honestly, that's been really nice because I like theorizing.
Yeah, for me, like usually I'll pay attention to the what people are saying about a show, and I do a little bit about Silo, but just because since the speculation isn't all that, like when you know already what's going to happen, it's not as exciting to see what people are guessing because you already know whether they're right or wrong. And because I'm doing 2 shows right now that come out back to back, like I sort of spend all my time switching between one and the other, and never really just focusing on one for too long. But yeah, I'm looking up this video. It's called what is it called? They got a bunch of full scenes on here.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there it was.
Yeah.
Silo Origins it's called. It came out 2 weeks ago. It's got 343,000 views. So a lot of people that are in the comments probably saw it.
Damn, I'm probably like the only one that hasn't watched this, but I'm gonna keep it that way.
Yeah. Like it doesn't, you wouldn't be able to piece it all together from watching that, but you would get an idea of what, how that story is going to develop, from where it's at right now. Because I guess why don't we kind of shift to that? Where we're at right now, Daniel and Helen are basically still getting to know each other and trying to figure out what they're up against. In those two things, I prefer the what they're up against part of it. And I wanted to ask you guys, like, what do you think about this? Because to me, it feels like they're going to end up together.
If I were a betting man, I would say that they're kind of developing the relationship, right? So we get invested in them and their dynamic, and then I think maybe there'll be a betrayal or something by the end, and that's why they kind of want us to get into the relationship and what they are to each other. So then if they end up having some ideological difference, I assume related to the silos, then that adds some emotional impact. Again, I don't know how we'll eventually get there. It sort of seems far away, even though we're almost halfway through the season, but that's kind of where my head's at right now.
Because I feel like a lot of these interactions with Daniel, I'm like, why would she date this dude? Like, why would she be interested? Like, he kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Like, he's a congressman. I suppose he's good looking or whatever, but like, otherwise, he's
just so boring and kind of dull.
A little dim, I think.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe. But he's an engineer that invented but yeah, I don't know. There's something about him that I'm not exactly rooting for him to succeed.
So
here.
let me ask you guys this. Do you think that is performance related, or do you think that is because of something? Like, that's something we're supposed to be picking up on? Like, there's something wrong with this guy, and then that's going to be revealed later? I don't really know, because they changed a lot of the relationships and stuff in the before times. So a lot of that is riffing on what happens in the before times in the book shift, but it's not, I couldn't tell you for sure how.
I just know why, because I was talking about this with Jim. It's like, I don't know why I give a fuck. Like, other than like, oh, I guess I like, pretty attractive people getting together and being happy. Like, why would it relate? Because, like, okay, can we all say that we don't give a crap about Dan or Helen as people other than what they're doing for the plot? So, like, being invested in them in a couple must mean something. Like, are they the progenitors of the silo race? Like, I don't understand why I should care about the relationship they're trying to pull when,
again, I think it's like, less that we're supposed to. Yeah. I feel like it's less that we're already supposed to care about the relationship, but more that, like, by doing this relationship, that will make us care about them, like, in a few episodes. I think it's hard because, like, last episode, like, we just really didn't get any time with them, so it's almost only been 3 in terms of the past storyline, just in terms of getting to know them. And I don't know, maybe it's like, you could say it's a cheap way to get us in by making it a relationship. But I think they're doing an okay job. It's just, I just don't think we've had the time yet.
Yeah, it's a little spread out. That's the problem with having the split timeline, right? They could have maybe done alternating episodes, but yeah, I agree that I'm not completely invested in. The main thing that, A.Ron, what you were saying is, like, why do we care? I mean, I think the one thing we have to go off there is that Helen has the Pez dispenser that will be in Silo 18 in the future, So that's telling us that somehow this thing that she has will make its way down to George and then to Juliette and then over to Sims. And so, what
Are
does
they
that
trying to
actually
draw a
mean?
parallel between Juliette and George and Helen and Daniel?
Well, you know what I was wondering about was because
Like two doomed people trying to find the truth. Because I guess that'd be interesting because it's inversion, right? As I understand it, George was the truth seeker and Juliette was kind of like, oh, okay, well, whatever. And then his murder got her to be a truth seeker. And are they inverting that with Daniel and Helen, where that Helen is the truth seeker and Daniel is kind of like, I kind of like to date you. And then the thing with Iran happens. And I guess if I was to predict the rest of this, then Helen's going to die. And that's going to make, I don't know. But like, it comes out as like, what possible payoff can there be for the damn duck Pez dispenser? I mean, I'm not saying there's not going to be. I'm just like, there's a couple things that drive me crazy about this show. And the Pez dispenser showing up in our timeline and then getting kicked forward as a red level artifact. That's one of the big flashing red ones. Like, what?
Well, one thing I thought might be happening was Juliette was getting her memories back, even though they were giving her the medication, as far as we knew. And Charlotte had a flash of a memory whenever Helen came to visit her. So I thought maybe they were saying like, look, Juliette's like Charlotte, but now Charlotte hasn't been on, we haven't seen Charlotte again. And also we found out that Sims told the nurse to switch out the meds. So Juliette wasn't remembering because of her necessarily, like because like maybe she was immune or something like that, but just because she had stopped taking the meds before she thought she stopped taking them herself.
Oh, can I throw out something then? I just thought. So like they established that Jessica Brown Finley or Finley Brown, I did the Charlie, I can't, the Sam, I can't remember, the Daniel sister, that she was an outlier, that they're, or that they're, was she an outlier? Or was this the guy just explaining it's an outlier? Either way, when Camille and the algorithm were talking, he explained that like, oh, you're dealing here with Juliette, that she's an outlier. It's like 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 people, and and it doesn't quite work right. You got to do this, got to do that. If they're under the mistaken impression that she's an outlier when she's just not taking the drugs, does that have any kind? Is there any there like that they might treat her wrong, or
there could be?
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I need a timeline a little bit here as to whether, like, did they start giving her the sugar pills or placebo pills around the same time she was spitting them out, or was there a big gap of time between those two events? And to go off of that, I feel like I need something straightened out, which is the fact that they are keeping Charlotte in this facility when they've wiped her memory. And I'm sitting here like, why have you not taken her out and brought her to a normal hospital? Like, it seems weird that they're just leaving her there. And I guess you could argue that, they've wiped her memories, and so another doctor is not going to be able to get the memories back. But I guess I'm having trouble reconciling that with the fact that with Juliette, all they had to do was just stop giving her the pills, and eventually her memories are coming back. So why can't they just take Charlotte away from this messed up clinic and have her memories come back? So in that sense, I don't know, like they seem to be operating differently. And I just can't tell if it's because Daniel is just silly and not taking her out, or if Juliette is an outlier because they're seemingly responding to these pills differently. Because, right? Because I think with Charlotte, they said, okay, we wipe the memories and then we bring them all back with these artifacts and we shape them. And then Juliette, they wiped her memories, and then it's been months, and Camille's like, why doesn't she remember anything? Like, it just seemed like, I don't know if they were giving her artifacts to make her remember, but it just seemed like the way it was supposed to work wasn't. But was
I mean, they were showing her the video of the refuge hut and things like that. So they were trying.
But that's not a real. But also
memory.
that's not a. Yeah, that's not a real memory, and they told us that that's far harder to do than recover an existing one. And the other thing is like, I feel like the doctor when Dr. Exposition was giving us all the information about the drugs, that he intimated that there was a timeline to which it's too late to bring things back over the drawbridge.
He did say that,
and I might have said it was the time period that it was too late was around 3 months, or am I misremembering that?
You might
how
be
long
making that one
Juliette's
up.
been.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Okay, but for that's the other thing is like, well, I guess I don't know how long it's been since Sims switched to medicine. It can't be that much long because, I guess
I think she started getting the. I think we saw right when they started to switch out the meds. I think that's
okay.
The beginning of the
well,
season.
so in that case, what I was going to say is like, well, 3 months isn't enough to permanently pull up the drawbridge. We got a lot of time with Daniel's sister then. You know, because I don't think more than a couple of days has passed. Yeah. We'd have to have a back time, the before times time jump before. So, but I don't know. I don't even know if Daniel's sister is anything more than a MacGuffin at this point. Is she just the thing that got the plot started and she's not really important? She was there to explain. The only reason she's there is to explain the memory loss drugs so that we can know what's going on with Jules. Daniel might be an important character, but I don't know if Sam is. It's not Sam. What is her name?
Charlotte.
Charlie. Because I remember he called her a boy's name in the first episode, and I'm like, what? But yeah.
Yeah, Charlotte. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you guys. Joven 1312 at the bottom here was asking the question. It's Sims that told the nurse to switch the meds. That was my interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah,
but whenever then I saw some recappers say something different, and I was like, "Oh, I thought that the show was pretty clearly bringing us in the Sims direction." But
yeah, and I thought obviously
who else?
Because Jules also asks, "How did he know to meet me in the pump station?" The only answer to that is the nurse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. He told the nurse to tell her to go to the pump station, and he waited for her. That's I don't know who else would. You know what I mean?
I feel and I felt like Rebecca Ferguson, Juliette asking that rhetorically was to clue us on the audience into something just happened, notice it, and then you work backwards. It's got to be. I guess my only question is what do you guys think about Sims and Camille working together covertly, playing? Because that was a big theory until this episode, and now it's because I'm thinking how do you defeat something like the algorithm, where if it thinks the situation is sus, it just floods the facility with gas and it's game over, right?
Right.
You have to play a really slow, cautious game. Camille kind of demonstrated an episode or two ago that she's not capable of lying to the algorithm without it being able to do its lie detector stress test on her. So they might be working for the same purposes, but had agreed to partition their knowledge to. I don't know. I don't, like I said, tell me factions are in this place.
Wait, are you trying to imply that maybe they were she wants to save Juliette, but she put it onto Sims so then she can almost feign ignorance to the algorithm? Is that sort of your theory?
Yes. And that she can, and that Sims can put up a thing oh, let me do it. And she's like, no, it's got to be me, just in case anyone's listening. But telling Sims the plan allows him to circumvent it.
Yeah, I don't think that was not what I thought. I thought the big reveal in this episode was that Sims is actually pretending that he's going along with Camille and being supportive, but he's actively trying to undermine everything that she's doing, because we could talk about it, why he's doing that, but the part that I think is the most fascinating about all of it is that I think Camille is doing what she's doing because she doesn't believe there's another way. I think she's trying to be subversive. I think she's trying to think of ways that she could get around what's happening here. But she only thing she can think of is that if I don't do what the algorithm says, it's going to gas us. And there's no way for us to stop that. It's just a thing that it can press a button. We all die. You know what I mean? So,
and I think she did as much as she could, right?
Yeah. So like, it's sort of like, I feel like she's doing what I feel like she wants to find a way out, but can't. Stims is just pretending that he's supporting her because for the same reason, but then he's trying to find a way. But what's fascinating is there is no way out. That's the whole thing about being in a silo, right? That's why they want to go outside, but if they do, they die. So like, if they cross the algorithm, they get gassed. The futility of it all is just.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Bernard had his crash out. Go ahead.
Here's an idea I had that kind of might explain some of the fucky stuff that's going on this season. Is that the algorithm made some weird comment about, Camille, there's been 6 other events, and silos have been reset 5 times, including yours. But I felt like the way they there was like a gap of like a silo or something, and we know silo 17 is destroyed. Is it possible that silo 18 is the last one left? And like that's one of the reasons the algorithm is doing so much forbearance? Because I feel like the safe thing, if you're worried about people getting out, is to probably gas them, especially before Juliette came over to Hill and Bernard is getting in his suit and leaving with the gun and the whole silo. So it's like, is it possible that there are no more silos left? And that's one of the reasons that they're not willing to gas them quite as easily, or I don't know. Obviously, Pete can't answer this.
Yeah, no,
he can either say no, you idiot, or yeah, you're exactly right.
I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it, but
yeah. I think that's a good possibility. I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because I think in general, like if you are being very precious about human life, you would do all you could to avoid that situation regardless. Because even 50 silos is not really a lot of people if we assume that the entire globe is
it's not, but and this is what I think. This is what led me down his path, as Jim is talking about, that he on a lark looked up like what is the human population you would need to repopulate the earth without any genetic defects. And I swear to God, he said the answer it spit out was approximately 10,000 people. And I think that's interesting that that's the population of each silo, which means you just need one to survive.
Oh, maybe they're trying to like pick the best one, and then they'll only let the best one survive. Fallout. Because if they're doing like, I think I said another week, like, because I don't know, a lot of these dystopian things, it always ends up being like a human experiment, right? So if like each of the 50 silos is like a little bit different of a society, and they're like testing things out, then you pick whatever society is working best, and then that's going to be your 10,000 that lives on, and you put all your investment into. But
what was the number, A.Ron?
10,000.
So that's kind of,
there's no way it's 500,000.
That's a little on the nose, right?
Yeah.
It might back up what you're saying there, Chris.
Yeah, so someone's experiment.
So I just went and looked, and it says scientists recommend an absolute baseline of between 5,000 to 14,000. Maybe he means it's right in the middle of that range. But
I always thought that would be a lot higher, so that is fascinating to me.
Yeah, you would.
Okay.
Think so.
Can I throw? I don't want to take control of this discussion.
No, I love your theories. I want to hear them.
Because this stuff is kind of like coming together. Okay.
Yes.
Vault 17, they disabled their failsafe. They went out to the outside en masse, and they all died within a football field's radius of the entrance.
Mm-hmm.
What is the thing outside? Because I feel like the thing outside has to be related to whatever the strike team ran into on the mountain range bombing run, which to me looks like a cloud of nanites. And that would be like a bunch of self-replicating nanites can bust through almost any material and replicate itself, is something that I think you need to silo humanity up for. And this goes to my master plan, which is there was a plan that like, okay, these nanites will run out of energy or material within so many years, but people keep on finding ways to get out of the silo, and then the nanites come and attack them, and it starts all over again. So because that also feeds into my theory of like, why are these silos at the end of their life? Why have they been mined to the point that their mines are collapsing? Why are the critical supplies running out? Like, were they not intended to be down here so long? And that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't seem like there's something immediately lethal. Because like when we've seen people go out to clean, they don't even make it over the hill. So like, I feel like there's nothing immediately lethal out there, but maybe if there's like a swarm of like prey, I don't know if any of you guys read Michael Crichton's Prey. I'm cribbing some of this from that, but then I go like, well, if it's nanites like a layout, like how would a vault protect you? I feel like they would just disassemble the seals around it, get in there, I don't know, eat all the biofuel, and it'd be done. But is this anything?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I feel like we're going to get some answers to some of these questions before the end of this season. That's what I would say. I don't know that we have anything that backs any of what you say, like that I can point out that would back up what you're saying or not. But all of the things that you said are true, that when they went outside Vault 17, they didn't die immediately. Generally, whenever people walk outside of Silo 18, they die before they hit the hill. Those things are indisputable truths.
You are not wrong with your eyes and ears, Peter saying.
I know, I really hadn't considered the different lengths.
Because I thought like, well,
they made it.
If they disabled the failsafe, like I'm like, well, is there a missile strike they can do? But now that I know the nanites are out there, seems like that's an obvious threat that you would want, and like, yeah, there's like some kind of expiration date where they just run out of energy, or they run out of power, they run out of raw materials, or they can only use a certain type of raw material. Because yeah, otherwise, when would you ever be safe to come out for a swarm of hyper intelligent, self-replicating nanites? Never.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they haven't. I do know that they have mentioned nanotechnology in like some of the promo material. I know obviously that hasn't really been mentioned on the show. I mean, I'm just curious. Like, I guess I'm just not sure how that operates in this world versus other sort of fictional,
right? Like
fictional worlds. Like, I don't know, because I guess I'm just not really sure how nanites operate here. And
anything for freedom says
in this universe,
this is a good point too, and I forgot about this. Anything but freedom said Solo said it was the wind direction shifting that prevented them from dying immediately. I guess my question is, like, would Solo know? He was like 8 years old when it happened. How the hell would he know? And the wind direction of it sounds like poison, but they capped the poison thing off. Maybe they didn't cap it off correctly. Maybe there's more than one failsafe. There's like a central one and a vault specific one.
We'll see.
Maybe. This is you're getting me thinking. You're getting me thinking. I feel like I have nothing good to add on to your theory, but I think it's a good one.
All right.
You guys have wheels turning. That's always good.
Yeah.
That means that the show is doing something right.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. I don't want to like totally go off of this theory and this topic, but there was something we talked about earlier that I wrote something down and wanted to mention quickly, which was just we were talking about Helen's importance, and I just want to know if anyone else thought that the apartment that they were in of her ex-boyfriend kind of looked like the design inside of the vaults. A little, I don't know, just something about like the way the
She
balcony
did pick out,
was situated,
the layout,
and all of the different artifacts. I was like, and this apartment was so like weird to me. Like, I just feel like this could have been a very like generic apartment with no personality if we weren't really supposed to think about it. But there were so many like weird things in this space, and I was like, I don't know if that is emphasizing her importance or if like her ex-boyfriend Parker is going to be a character.
I actually, that's my one of the theories I came up with, is that Parker is going to be somehow, because what is this in Moldova that I feel like eventually Daniel and Helen are going to have to go overseas to kind of investigate that, and her ex-boyfriend is currently overseas covering some kind of conflict, and Helen's a journalist, so I think that they're going to somehow use him to make. But I thought I had a much simpler reason for the apartment, which is it's something to intimidate Daniel, because I know if there's a girl I thought was cute and she brought me to her ex-boyfriend's safe house and was that fucking cool, I'd be like, whoa, I am way out of my depth here. Thank you. I'm going to go home now. So like, I thought it's just more like, Daniel, like this gal has dated adventuresome, serious folk, and Daniel's just a Boy Scout.
I
love your idea because
I
see the aesthetic. I see the vision.
I like your idea because they also made that point of saying, Helen said, I picked out the furniture. I helped pick out the furniture. So that was a weird, that whole exchange they had seemed weird and out of place for everything else that was happening.
Because I wasn't able to look up this one painting, but sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because we didn't, like, he says, oh, you drive around a 30-year-old Saab, not ironically, like those aren't things that we already knew about the character, you know what I mean? Like those were things he knows. So yeah, to me that whole thing was like, what are they doing? Like, why are those details important compared to something else?
30-year-old Saab would comport with the old technology. Like, I would believe that's a pre-fuel injector, free computer, computer. And because, this goes the other big theory I have. The dirty bomb attack on the Capitol was not a dirty bomb. It was Washington set off an EMP to preemptively protect themselves from the nanite swarm. And they pass it off as a dirty bomb to keep the population from panicking. My proof of that is they set off a dirty bomb in DC and they got Geiger counters everywhere. And Daniel is a congressman at DC, and none of the Geiger counters are going off. There's no. Do you guys understand how a dirty bomb works? It doesn't give out a little bit of radiation. It's specifically designed to maximize the amount of heavy fallout that occurs. Like, that area should be lit up like a Christmas tree for 100, if not thousands of years. But an EMP is the opposite. It's just the electromagnetic pulse with hardly any of the remaining leftovers. So it is a cover-up, but not the cover-up that I think maybe Daniel or Helen was suspected. I don't think they were insidiously trying to do something to the American people. I think they were trying to do like some kind of shadow defense. What do you guys think about that?
That's interesting. Like, so the electromagnetism would work against the nanites. Is that?
Nope.
I'm not sure how the tech all works. So
Oh my God, I'm taking a risk of mansplaining something.
That's okay. I would like you to.
Yeah.
In this case.
So I mean, I don't know anything. This is shit I just learned off watching Ocean's 11. But an EMP is a type of a bomb that puts out, and I guess this is something they played around in the 60s, like doing high atmospheric and outer space explosions. But one of the things they found is like this sets out a pulse that just like blanks things that use electronics, scrambles them, resets them, like rubbing a magnet over a hard drive, but like over a huge area. And it's fine if you just have a simple circuit like light bulbs and stuff, because once it's done, but like I guess it literally fries sensitive electronics. So And nanites are microscopic machines. And a lot of times when you're talking about nanites in fiction, they usually also have the self-replicating feature, which means they can somehow take material from the world and use it to construct identical copies of themselves so that they can potentially grow exponentially and accomplish almost anything. But if you had an EMP, I think since those are still at some level a small machine, that it would probably take them out. Like in the Matrix with that big switch that Morpheus flew and it made the pulse go out and all the machine. That was an EMP. There we go.
Okay. I think that's a really good theory because obviously they want us to just think it's something generic, like, oh, we're just using this as an excuse to attack Iran. But if it has an actual, scientific sort of explanation behind it, I think that's a really good theory.
Yeah.
The other thing is, someone said, well, how would how would the nanites get here? I mean, I assumed that Iran would just release them, but also it could be, since it happened in DC, it could be a lab leak theory. That's something that some clandestine organization in America was working on, and it got out of the lab and they EMP'd it as a panic. But that doesn't explain why then you'd have a huge nanite swarm over in the mountains in Iran. So I don't know. There's something there. I feel like I've got some pieces of it, but there's a piece or two that just is missing.
Yeah, but I mean, even with your theory, it might have originated over there, right? Like maybe it wasn't a U.S. lab leak; it was something over there, and now they found out about it and are protecting over here before it spreads more. I don't know. Go ahead, Pete.
I was just gonna say I was accused earlier of maybe having facial expressions that seem to back up some of the things you were saying after in the past, being told that I was doing a pretty good job of not giving things away by reacting. So if you're wondering why I'm trying to go full poker face again, that's pretty much it.
That's okay.
Chat believed that I may have verified some of your theory crafting there.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been doing a book to show adaptation podcast for almost 15 years. As far as I know, I've never spoiled anything, but do you know the number of years that I've been accused of spoiling something just because people are so fucking paranoid about spoil? All 15 every year. It's like, he usually does a good job at the spoilers, but he's just asking too many leading questions. Every time about nah. I'm good at this.
People don't really even care about spoilers. They just like to really be. They want to control. Like they like the idea of thinking that they should be able to dictate what they hear.
Yeah.
They should be able to police. They should be able to police the what other people are saying. And
I think there's definitely a hall monitor aspect to it, but also, I mean, I've had things spoiled for me and it sucks. It
does suck.
I also think telling someone the first 5 minutes of a movie or a TV show is not a spoiler, but some people disagree. And I'm like, have you ever read a review of anything in your life? Do you understand that you have to establish a premise to talk about anything? And the premise is not a spoiler? Christ. Anyway, I'm cranky. It's Friday.
I feel like it's some people take it a little bit too far. But I do. I also agree that no one should have to. If you don't go looking for something, you shouldn't have someone throw it in your face either. That does suck. I see people do that in the comments of my videos all the time. I have to erase them because they'll just nobody's asking, but they're just throwing out answers to things just to ruin it for other people. It sucks.
Yeah, they haven't come in my comment sections, but I did see someone else on TikTok where, some guy put out a good theory from what he knows because he hasn't read the books. And then I think people were just putting what it was in the comments. And then he's like, oh, I haven't read them yet. And he's like, oh, you can just Google it. And it's crazy that they're going to Googling things instead of hey, you should read these great books. It's there's a joy in like the process and theorizing. Like, I don't want to just Google an answer. That's so boring.
Yeah, like there's that you can wiki these answers in 30 seconds probably if you wanted to. So
that's one of the reasons I don't research this show as heavily, because it's so much easier to get spoiled by grabbing a book spoiler or something. I try to, essentially stay to my community and kind of like what I've been paying attention to, but I don't get on the places and mine for theories as much as I do on other shows, because I'm just afraid I'm gonna. It's a rare show that neither Jim nor I has read the source material, so it's fun to kind of like spend 15 minutes, kind of like what we did a couple minutes ago, where it's like, you think it's nanites? What about DMP? Well, if it's DMP, then how to? Yeah,
I feel like there's a disconnect too with like, I feel like a lot of people come into the show that aren't necessarily hardcore sci-fi. I don't know if it's
Rebecca
Ferguson,
this is a very cleaner show.
And so like, yeah, like I feel like even if you never read Silo, like when you saw the Charlotte scene, that would make sense to most sci-fi people as to what was happening there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or like what a possibility would be, you know what I mean? Because like you said, self-replicating robots, like that's a pretty horror show kind of concept that's been in lots of sci-fi stories, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's just something that would be like, oh, that's like up there with like I don't know, Dyson spheres and Dyson swarms and stuff, like these are things that you run into all the time. So like if you're watching a sci-fi story, it's not going to be out of place. Let's go from the theory back to like what actually happened in this episode, I guess. Because that way I can join in for a little while. The nurse, we kind of clocked that last week that she might be an ally. I didn't clock the idea that she would be in cahoots with Sim. So I found that to be a pretty satisfying reveal. I thought
they got me with her, narking on Juliette. They really got me with that. I'm like, oh man, this guy, I hate that. I started calling her Nurse Ratchet, and I just started this episode, and then she turns into ear, and I'm like, God, now I got to come up with a new name for her. Crap.
Yeah, she was
Nurse Not So Ratchet.
Yeah, she seemed like she was like Camille's right hand man, and like, of course, we didn't like that. You know what I mean? Now when she did the prepared the injection and then got Emerson instead. It was a great twist in that scene.
I liked that. Yeah, I think they do pretty good action scenes on this show too. I think they build the tension up. Like, is Juliette gonna get out of her straps in time? So that was fun. That
was something I wasn't 100% sure on. So I'll ask you guys. The implication whenever Billings went to talk to the doctor was that actually a lot of people died during this rat poison situation, right?
Yeah, he said they had a lot
quite
of
a few
bodies. I forget the exact phrase he said, but Camille definitely killed a lot of people, and then did not kill Lucas, did not kill Juliette.
And Juliette looked like she was pretty bad whenever they brought her up, but like other than the little bit of like oxygen she gets after they leave the hospital room, she seems kind of normal-ish by the end, right? Like, she
wasn't in there very long. You know?
Yeah. And like I was saying, I think even though they showed a lot of people running out of the mines last week, I mean, they're very deep. That couldn't have been everybody that was in there. So I'm sure whoever was just deeper in at the time did not make it out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do you think Kyle would be way deep in there?
Yeah. I mean, that just seems like convenient things for TV, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with a little action hero, superhero moment.
Also, let me ask you this. Kennedy's group is getting around the silo undetected by using tunnels that they've broken in from outside the silo into the mines, right?
I think it's more of like there's sort of like space between the walls, maybe.
Oh, because
Yeah, I
my
didn't
next
get the
question,
sense
you
they
could
were
probably
in the
see where I
mine.
was. Okay, because I
Yeah,
thought
like-
that's like they had broken. I'm like, gosh, because like when I saw the nurse, because that's the other thing. It's like, God, how many people have busted holes in the silo?
Yeah.
Like, I that really surprised me. And the nurse is like, well, people got tired of walking to the stairs, so just like, okay,
That felt
like,
so real to me, though.
it does, but like, it's got to be a pact violation. Like, is there a pact violation on every floor, and everyone's just keeping it to themselves? Like, we're the only ones that figured this out. I don't know.
That felt so,
you see where I was going? If there's,
yeah,
sorry, go
I
ahead,
thought.
Pete.
I was just gonna say that was a detail I really liked, because I was just thinking like all the shit jobs that you've had in your life where you just have like to sit there for 8 hours on a shift, you know what I mean? And then you're just like, well, what if I made a hole in the you know what I mean? In the between places, I wouldn't have to walk down the stairs anymore. Then you feel like you're doing something productive at work all of a sudden, right? Yeah. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, A.Ron.
I was gonna say, it's like, because where I was going with that is like, if there's so many holes breached from the silo to the mines, then like, why didn't that rat poison get way out of control? But if you're saying that it's like inner wall, outer wall mine, then that answers that question.
That's sort of what I thought they were going for, because if like part of it looks like maybe pre-existing, but I don't think they're saying that. Yeah, they're just. There's just this vast well, I don't know, let's reserve judgment, because he does say in this episode that Lucas asks how he's going to get to where they're going to talk to Juliette, and Danny said there is a way, but you're not going to like it. So I think we're going to find out more in the next episode.
What could it possibly be? Bungee jumping down the spiral stairs? Like,
there's a thing with Orla, right? She said she looked at the scaffold or the lifts that they made, like the kind of like homemade. I guess they're sort of like elevators, right?
Yeah, the pulleys they're using. Yeah.
She saw something there that she thought might be useful for her investigation, and then she went to go look at it, and she got rebarred to death. So hard to say, but there might be some kind of. I mean, that would be. I don't know how I feel about that. That might be a little bit much.
We saw Juliette like
if there's
base
a secret
jump down the trash chute last year, right?
Yeah, we saw that happened.
Yeah. So I agree with that. I think there's other ways to get around.
Knox and Shirley did a big.
Yeah.
They did a big long jump on a cord too. Remember, Knox and Shirley when they were trying to escape.
Right.
Yeah.
The shady guy that they were doing, I forget what his deal was, but he was like trading in relics or something. He had some kind of cable deal where they took it from him and went down a bunch of levels all at once.
Yeah. Especially because we talked about this too. Like, I think because the mines are almost contained to a few levels, right? Like, I don't think the mines are going all the way, right? They're kind of like in the center. I forget what floor they said.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, to me, the mines don't make a whole lot of sense. Like, do you really have to sort of tie yourself up in knots to figure out how that could work if they can't go too far? You know what I mean? If they're just going up and down, like it's
because they're just like in circles around a circle, a certain portion, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd think they'd be kind of. You think they'd like hit everything that they could by now, like.
Well, no, and I even had the theories like, where the hell? Because like that's just outside a major metro area, and it's just I don't think real life is like Minecraft, right? You can't just dig down wherever you're at and like, oh, I'm gonna hit a copper deposit, I'm gonna hit an iron deposit, oh, there's a vein, like right? Like that's not how the world works. So like I thought like me and Jim were talking about this 2 episodes ago. It's like, how far does the kayfabe go? When they built the silos, did they actually seed it with some kind of ore so they would have something to mine for? And I don't know. One of my earliest theories in season 1 is like is this actually a generational starship and they're trying to solve the psychological problem of the what do you tell the people they're not the first and the last ones? Because the first ones on the colony ship that launched wanted to be there. The last ones are going to arrive at the planet they spent the last 1,000 years trying to get to.
But
everyone else is literally just rocket fuel. Yeah. Your whole purpose is to make rocket go so people far into the future, and you didn't cause any of this. And so like, I thought that, so anyway, it's like, well, how do you solve that problem? Well, if everybody thinks they're in a post-apocalyptic bunker because you nuked their memories, but obviously when Juliette went outside and started walking around, that didn't last very long.
Yeah. I've wondered too, is like mining, I don't know. I feel like there's, as we've talked about, the miners are obviously up to something. And I guess now I'm wondering, like, is mining all a cover for something? Or is there just like a covert group within the larger group? Or are they all hiding something about what the department really does?
What would mining do that's not mining? Are they disposing of things? No, I'm taking this serious.
I have not fleshed this out at all.
Because I've always said like what Pete, like the mining thing doesn't make sense. You're gonna go out 200 feet from the silo and get enough useful materials to like, unless you're mining for dirt. I don't think so.
And one of the ways that I thought you could justify it would be just to say, hey, this is just a punishment. We tell them what they're doing is important.
It's busy work.
Yeah, but it's really just busy work. Like we
have to have have
to have a work camp to get people who are problems out of population. That's why they don't really care if they die or not. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going with that, but that's how I would do it if I was trying to explain, rather than trying to tie myself in knots to see how they were actually getting some like iron ore or something enough to sustain things. But
no, I think that's a really good point. And then, but like we said, I still think there's still a group in there that maybe is stealing critical supplies, and they're doing something, whether they're trying to, I don't know, make contact with another silo. I don't know how they would know that, but maybe down in the mines, they have discovered something and they just haven't shared it with anyone in power.
Because does anyone trust that Harwood guy? He seems like a villain from a kid show, man. Like he should have a pitchfork and talk in a raspy, like gravedigger voice or something. He's just, and his daughter's not much better.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another layer we don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like that he'll surprise us in some way, but I definitely don't trust him.
Yeah.
The other, one of the things that like it's built into the DNA of like the population control is that you make everyone think that their job is the most important thing in the silo.
Yeah, and they even talked about that last year, right?
Right, like that's something that's built into the DNA. Like when you meet Juliette, she feels like the silo won't sustain if she's not there to fix the generator, which is true to a certain extent. But then you also have IT who thinks the same thing, and you have the mayor who thinks the same thing, like the government. So everyone thinks that their position in the silo is uniquely like crucial to its existence. And that's, like I said, that's part of the planning. That's not just people being like, thinking that they're more important than they actually are. The way that it's set up fosters that, and it sort of factionalizes people too, right? Because if you think that the people from the up top you can't trust them, then that makes it harder for dissent to spread and for people to get together and become a rebellion to act against IT, I guess. And this IT would be the main bad guys, generally speaking, since they control more information than everyone else has.
Yeah. And that's why I've always said, like the past few weeks, that it is significant and strange that they are mixing the departments the way that they are, because that was such a core part of keeping the population in line and keeping everybody happy to a certain extent. And so by doing these council meetings, it's almost blowing that up a little bit, because now there's less mystery between the departments. Maybe they do find themselves less important because they're like, oh, this other department is like really doing some crazy stuff I didn't know about before. So yeah, I almost feel like they're letting them go crazy with the experimentation in the silo, because maybe things have gotten so messed up that they're like, let's just try some really out there protocols that we've never done before. Like, let's really bend the rules of the pact and just see what happens in this population. Like, they're almost a really wild card experimental silo now. And so they can kind of do whatever they want now before they like fully gas them out. Like, I think it's now their opportunity to like test out some wilder things that they're not willing to test in a different silo that's still more under control.
If it was you, what would you test it out? What would you like to test out in a silo type environment?
Oh,
we're off the order now. You can do whatever you want. What are you doing with your silo?
Oh my gosh. I want to make everyone happy. So I feel like, but I think it's such a
put different drugs in the water.
Yeah, we'll put fun drugs in there and see what everyone gets up to. God, I don't know.
I think it might be fun. I think it might be fun to continue with the memory drugs, but just do it randomly. So just random people lose memories from time to time. So, you know what I mean? Like, you'll be at work or whatever, and one of your coworkers will come in and be like, I don't know what's going on. So then everyone has to work together to help to bring their memories back enough for them to do their job so that they're not a complete nightmare. Yeah. I think that's what I would want to do. I want to inject lots of uncertainty, you know, like try to surprise people as much as possible with just random stuff that they're not expecting.
I think we could introduce it seems like they do have money and they do spend money, but overall it's not a very like high capitalist society. So I think you could like try to pit some competition and just see how capitalism slowly degrades everyone in this silo and just watch it happen in real time.
Open a casino. All of a sudden people would need more credits to make their bets.
Oh my God. Okay. What?
How about Lucas? I was a little bit frustrated with that. Like, I understand Patrick Kennedy has his own agenda, right? But it really killed me that Lucas kept saying I was in the mines and no one was like, so what were you actually doing in the mines for 3 months?
Yeah, I thought the friction between Patrick Kennedy and Lucas felt a little bit manufactured. I was like, I just don't understand why these people are fighting. They're generally on the same side. But I guess Patrick Kennedy is just so brainwashed. I don't think anything's going to convince him that the outside isn't safe until he actually steps foot outside. Because I mean, it's really such a big jump to think that Lucas is working with the people up top. Like, because why would the government be out there saying that, you know, he's a high level fugitive if the whole time he's, I mean, I guess that would be a good cover actually, but maybe that would be good. But yeah, I don't know how I felt about that. I just think at the end, I just think the Lucas reveal at the end of the last episode was such a big thing. And then I found I didn't even really have that much to say about him in my recap this week. Like, you know, it was this big character reveal and then just not really much overall for him in this episode. So it's kind of like we're just treading water.
Yeah, like I said, I was frustrated because it's like I would actually like to know what he was doing down there. That's new information for me. What do you guys like? We talked about this a little bit. A.Ron, what is your thinking on why he went to the mines or what he might be doing down there?
I thought that he was just hiding out because
Okay.
he knows too much. And as far as he knows, the authorities in the silo would want to kill him because he knows so much. And he had worked in the mines, so he knew where to go. But the other thing is, like, if Harwood or Hargrove or whatever his name is, if he's sinister but playing against type, it could be that that the mining faction is like more of a righteous faction than I would have let on. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But my thought was he's just hiding out, and like I don't think he was doing anything down there. Like what could he be doing? Do you have like it's like I can't think of an algorithm he'd be working on. I can't believe a formula, a plan, because he needs to be looking for the pipe where the safeguard comes in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that what the consensus in the chat and what came up when we were doing, some people thought he might be he might be digging like what the algorithm thought, that he might be trying to, or I guess
trying to break through
trying to dig to Solo in Silo 17.
Yeah, I don't think Camille was necessarily wrong on that. I think it was a good guess just because he is the only person in the silo that has the information of someone who
being other side
was a shadow and worked in IT and knows the mines better than anyone else. Like Bernard doesn't really know the mines the way he does. So if he wanted to go find a silo that way, he probably couldn't do it.
I think it was from listening to your podcast, you and Jim talking about it, A.Ron. It would be pretty hard, even if there are 50 of them. It would actually be pretty hard to just get lucky and hit another silo if you just randomly decided to dig. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, if one person did it, but if you had a whole silo's worth in 300 years,
right?
I think you would do it.
Oh no, bad. you could do it, but I'm just saying that, like, if he just like all of a sudden one day just started digging.
Okay, let me ask you this, because like I'm going to dispute that actually, because when I see how close the silos are together from an aerial view, and I extrapolate it to, is it 200 meter or 200? It's got to be 200 meters, right? Not feet.
I would think so. Yeah, 200 feet is nothing.
Is the surrounding mining area that looks like not too much? Those combined radiuses don't look too much further than they're actually spread apart. So, like, if every silo is as heavily mined as silo 18, it feels like you can't almost go, as long as you're not on the outer ring and you're digging in the wrong direction, you would almost always hit something.
That's true. I wasn't thinking about all the tunnels that would be there from the mining. That does significantly add some things to hit. So
I'm wondering too, like, what the algorithm really thinks about Lucas, because he went down and he found that door, and that almost felt like, I don't know, that felt like the last level in a video game or something, right? Like he went through all this investigating.
He made it to the boss.
Yeah, and we don't know everything that it's said to him. Obviously, he's aware of the safeguard procedure, but I got the sense that it maybe told him something else, like something bigger about what they're doing.
It broke Judge Meadows' brain, you know, like it literally broke her brain so that she stayed inside of her apartment.
Do you think he actually talked to Silo One
every morning when she woke
or whatever this? Do you think he actually went, because he went into the tunnel? It's not just he had a conversation with the safeguard or whatever, the algorithm. He went into the tunnel. Do you think he eventually like made it to Silo 1 or whatever, to headquarters silo, and like talked to someone who's actually in charge?
I mean, I thought they showed it pretty explicitly that they told him that he could not continue, or if he did, then it would be a safeguard. And that's how the safeguard came into the conversation.
Oh, I thought they said, "Are you aware of the safeguard and the penalty for talking about the safeguard?" And he's like, "Yes," and then it let him pass. But I could.
No, I don't think it let him pass. But
really,
yeah, I'd have to go back and look. But I never had that sense that he got
because that's the thing. It's not just it like breaks your brain. It's got so my thing. The only thing to keep us smart, I'm gonna say that I think Lucas is smart. I think he's compassionate. I think he has values, which I admire in a human being that's making decisions about other people's lives. Right?
Yeah.
What could he find out about besides the safeguard, which he already knew before he went down there? Right? What could he find out about? And the only thing I can think of is like there is a threat. It is impossible to go outside, and the silos won't last enough to outlast a threat. Because that's like that. Giving up means there's no way out. So it's like if the silo's not safe, and the outside isn't safe, and all it takes is one person asking too many questions in any one given silo to have everybody gassed. Like I guess that would be induce that kind of learned helplessness. You know
that's my takeaway as far as what we saw, like on the screen so far, was that they do a bunch of dirty shit because they think it's for the good of the silo. Then they find out that that's all just manufactured to get them to do what somebody else wants them to do, who can just, if they don't like what happens, they can just kill them. So they're not like, it's the shattering of the illusion of why you're doing the bad things that you're doing. It's like what we're watching in real time with Camille right now. She's doing these terrible things. She's thinking about wiping everybody's memory in the whole thing, but she believes she's doing that for a greater purpose. And when that greater purpose is exposed to be a lie, then you have nothing. You know what I mean? Then you're just a person who does war crimes all day long at your job,
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's something they're testing or will be testing, right? Like, are you more likely to follow the rules of the silo if you think it's all for a good purpose, or if you're like literally under death threat constantly?
Yeah, because some giant like Stanford prison experiment writ large.
Because you could definitely find different ways to motivate people to do the same things. You could be like, if you don't do it, the one next door is going to do it. Silo number 17 is going to do it. And if they do it first and do it better, then, you're going to lose and we're going to kill you or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's lots of different ways to make people do bad things because they think there's a purpose to it. But then you pull the rug out and it's like, oh, I just did a bunch of bad things. Like, what do I do now?
But I look, okay, let me challenge that too. Why would finding out that there's a safeguard to keep people from coming out of the silo fundamentally change? Because like you're still saving the silo. It's just there's another element. Like if you don't and you lose control and they do get out, they're all going to die. So it's like it doesn't really change the calculus on that unless there is the only thing I guess that makes sense if there's no threat outside and the machine is just keeping them there because that's what it's programmed to do.
What if that was
the psychology of being under threat of like a person versus like I'm keeping the silo safe because there's an environmental disaster outside and like this is our one and only society and I got to keep it in line. And so even if I have to like kill some troublemakers here and there, like this is actually for the preservation of humanity as a whole. And then I think if there's just some guy with a shotgun like outside the silo that's making you do these things, I think it's just psychologically that's a lot tougher to deal with. It's like
that's true because they believe they're the last 10,000 people on Earth. So then you find out, well, actually there's 50 silos, so it's a few more than 10,000. And we can gas this particular silo, and it won't be that much of a loss for us. Yeah, I think it's complicated. And I think one of the things that you always have to think about when you think about what people do on this show or how people are interacting is that, they actually did grow up inside the silo and they did grow up with that propaganda. So it's way more intense than like, I mean, we did the same thing, right? We grew up with propaganda and, some of us religion, some of us, different things like that. Like there's a lot of ways that once you become disillusioned with the thing that you thought was real, that, that you deal with in your life. But if you lived in the silo, it would be a little bit different. It would be a little more intense, you know?
Yeah. I was going to say there's almost like a religious lore to like the pact and everything they follow. You know, I think human beings are drawn to spirituality, or not everyone, but sometimes in different ways and different levels. So I just think when it's this pact and you had these like, you know, ancient leaders that were giving you advice to follow, I think it's just, again, a different feeling psychologically than like, oh, there's someone right here, right now that is like forcing me to do things. And now we're breaking the rules that I grew up knowing that were outlined in the pact. But interestingly, Camille knows the same amount, I believe, that like Judge Meadows and Bernard did. And yet she seems to be handling it better than them. Like she hasn't given up, and maybe that is why it chose her, right? They were like, oh, she'll be able to handle this, even though, you know, she's not going to go drink herself into oblivion with this information.
Yeah, it's I think with her, they're telling us it's about her child in the future. Maybe it's interesting to me. I think whenever we were getting to know Bernard through the first couple of seasons, how he always was alone, you know what I mean? Like he was a solitary character. Like everyone knew him. He had a public job or whatever. But you kind of like after hours or when he wasn't at work, like you just imagine him sitting around alone, you know?
Yeah.
Like that was like his whole existence. And of course we saw Meadows do that too. So there's an isolation to being a part of IT that she doesn't really have. That she has a family, right? She's not using them as much right now, but they do exist, and she is fighting for their future, where the other heads of IT were all very isolated, as far as we know.
Yeah. But even still, she is isolated to the extent that, you know, she has no one to talk to. And I think that's just another way they keep the shadows under their thumb.
And it's that same thing I was talking about earlier, that she's being fed this idea that you uniquely are the only person who can make this work. Mm-hmm. You know, like you have to come through here because everything's counting on you and this job you're doing. And yeah, you know, you might have to kill a mayor, or you might have to wipe everyone's memories, but you're the only one who can do that. And that's really important. You know, we need someone like
you. Like Hot Fuzz. For the greater good, Camille. The greater good.
So, did you guys, let's go back to the before times a little bit, because we're going to wrap up here. And Sam the Ram, who is also in an 80s cover band called the Lost Boys with Daniel, who used to shred on the sax. Do you think he still shreds on the sax?
How like I feel like any proficiency you get with a musical instrument, you kind of you still have that, right?
So there could be a sax solo coming in the upcoming episodes, is what you're saying.
How bad does he want to date Helen?
I mean, if I could shred on the sax and I met a girl like Helen that I was trying to impress, I might shred on the sax.
Also there's a kind of, because like because I think like we just did a podcast on this a couple of years ago, but in the Lost Boys, isn't the sax guy like oiled up, stripped to his waist
he's
naked?
Not wearing a shirt. I remember that.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, that's if you're calling yourself the Lost Boys, Dan, you better be shredding oiled up, half naked.
Yeah, that's
leather pants and cowboy boots. Maybe you can get away with wearing. Assless chaps would be better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's been a meme since the Lost Boys came out. You know what I mean? Like that was a very memorable scene with that guy.
Wait, I was like laughing when he first went up to him though, and his friends was basically like, dude, I don't know you like that. Like, why are you coming to me this information? I was like, oh, it sounds like they weren't actually as close as he's making it sound.
Well, what I wanted to ask about Sam was like he gave out some really good reasons why he wouldn't help him, and I think he showed that he was sympathetic to the situation, but it's just like his job. He works, like he said, they do lie detector tests and things like that. Like it's not, but then he comes to him at the end. So were you trusting that he gave him real information, or do you think it's a setup, or what do you think's going on there?
Well, I mean, I took it at
because the
face
mystery
value
man
at the
also,
end.
I mean, the mystery man also saw them together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, when he first talked to him, I was skeptical, like, because my first instinct is always to be skeptical. I was like, we don't know how deep this conspiracy runs. Like, how do we know he's not a part of this or has some inclination, or again, just wouldn't snitch because he wants to like keep his position and not divulge military secrets to someone that he maybe is not actually that close with. But then I did kind of take it at face value at the end. Maybe I'm a little gullible, but like I said, my first instinct was a little suspicious, so I wouldn't be shocked if, you know, it turns out there's a little bit of a setup here.
My thing is like they're all like, I feel like you set someone up when you're trying to get them, but they feel like they're entirely in the clandestine man's pocket. Like he's had them under surveillance the entire time. Every little half-ass thing they've tried to do to hide out and throw him off his tail, he just comes right up and be like, let me buy a coffee. It's like, I guess the only thing is, yeah, you don't want to eliminate or disappear them, so you compromise Sam and tell them to send them on a wild goose chase so that they waste their time. But that's not very fun to watch in a storytelling point of view.
Okay, so let's bring it back to the mystery man then. Like, who does he represent? What are your working theories on when he says he doesn't tell him his name, for one thing, which is probably not all that important, but he does say that what I do is I answer to some people who can offer a second chance. That's the way he describes it. Who are those people?
I mean, it's got to be people high up in the federal government, right?
So you think he works for the government?
Yes. Or who was Fox Mulder against? Was it the alien replicants? He's either working for the federal government or the alien replicants with the black oil.
Yeah, I just assumed he was part of sorry, I just keep thinking Carrie Weaver. Like Thurman and
yeah.
Like I assume they're kind of at the center because they are leading this Iran committee, and so obviously they were in charge of this mission and they're fully aware of the black goo, nanites, whatever it is. So I feel like they're at the heart of it, and then he's probably just like a henchman for them. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that does tie those things together is that he showed up at Charlotte's clinic, that she, you know, Anna told Daniel that they had to pull, that her mother, the Senator Thurman, had to pull some strings to get her into that. And they're obviously going to withhold the payment for that treatment.
It's such horseshit because it's clearly not for her benefit, right? This is just to wipe her memories.
This terrible treatment. What would we do without it?
But at the same time, it breaks her in a unique way that you can't just have her. You can't just break her out of there.
Turkey,
yeah. Because if you do, like, you don't really know what's going to happen. You don't know if you'll be able to recover what the doctor tells him is there.
Although I will say, it does feel like you can quit at cold turkey anytime based on what Sims did this episode. And maybe that's because they've done a lot of the past telling us like how the future is going to go. Maybe that's an instance of them telling us in the future that Daniel and Helen are going to steal away Charlie and let her recover because there's no danger in doing that, or Sims would have killed the mayor with switching her over to sugar pills.
Yeah, I know the doctor explained what they were doing in these very like lofty metaphorical terms, but I don't even think he ever said we're giving her pills. Like, I don't even know if he knows that the memory loss is through pills, or, you know, whether they had done something more invasive to do that. So unless he finds out it's pills, then he can't break her out. But maybe someone can get that information to him. And
yeah, I mean, I would agree with what you're saying that it probably wouldn't be a bad outcome if they just took her out of there and then just gave her memories back, like, you know what I mean, as she came off the meds. But if you were in his position, it would be horrifying to think about taking your loved one away from that clinic and what might go wrong if you are making the wrong choice, you know,
because right now she's not even your loved one, really.
No, she's just an empty shell. And if you could never get her back because you acted impulsively, like you would feel pretty shitty for the rest of the time she was alive. I mean, you might just put a pillow over her head and take care of her that way, like they were going to do with Juliette in this episode.
It's still a sister, guys.
Yeah. Well,
there's been plenty of times I've wanted to pillow my kid sister, just, you know, come here. Yeah, it's like, but yeah, I mean, yeah, if your sister's been returned to the factory default settings and she's not really your sister anymore, then I guess you're kind of playing with house money. But on the other hand, maybe you're trusting that. But that's the thing. It's like, now, knowing what he knows now, he cannot trust anyone at that facility.
She'd be expensive to take care of too. I mean, she's not going to be bringing in any income in that state.
She can flip burger. What are you talking about? She's not stupid. She just doesn't have long-term memory. She can flip burgers.
I guess she could work at Lumen. No problem.
She can make coffee. Yeah, hell yeah. There you go. Just clock in a Lumen, baby.
Got a whole new mystery to solve. That's how we'll get our crossover.
Yeah. Is there anything that we left out?
Both Apple shows.
Is there anything we have yet to?
I feel like we got to most of the things I wanted to talk about. I definitely got to try out all my crazy theories.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing this.
We could talk really quick about how Shirley is back on our good sides. I think she's gotten a lot of heat the last few weeks. And yeah, I thought their scene with like the red lighting where Juliette was, saying she has these feelings and she has these feelings and she has a good feeling towards her. I just thought that was like a really sweet and like very like human emotional moment in the middle of this episode. And, all the theorizing. I like little moments like that kind of just take you back to the feeling of it all. And Rebecca Ferguson was like really good in that scene. So I enjoyed that.
It was a nice emotional payoff to that, all the ill feelings that everybody was having. You can see the way back too. You can see that, like I said, last episode, it seemed like you could see some of her behaviors, some of her mannerisms coming back, but this one you can actually see that the personality, like the feelings are back. And I thought that was a great scene for that reason too. I also thought that because we Gab brought it up last week about Common's performance. And I was saying, that I think a lot of times it's kind of stilted. And I thought that the one with him and Camille in this episode was really the best performance wise, I think, for this character. For me, I thought that they both played that really well, and it had a lot of like it seemed like a real husband and wife doing a thing. And then when you find out that he's duping her, it really had a nice payoff for that too.
Yeah, I think just the fact that I did believe him the whole episode, that he was going to help her, he was going to go kill Juliette, and then
it says something, right?
Yeah, and then on the rewatch, once I know that he was duping her, I can see all the little like, oh, he did seem a little uncertain here. So I have to give props for that, because I think, that is good where you can have the different experience watching it twice over.
Yeah, I think they really did make him a lot more of an interesting character in this episode.
That's for sure. As far as him acting better, I don't know. The bar's in hell.
Yeah, like I said, we were talking about it last week.
I was going to say, I think he's most convincing when he's playing with the son, but he doesn't get to do that very often.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing, right? Because the his forward facing persona in the silo is to be kind of a unapproachable dick, like, don't mess with me, I can make your life terrible. So that's part of it. And then, but I just thought that in this particular scene where he's dealing with her, like, there's a lot going on, like, as far as like what he wants her to feel and how he wants to seem authentic, even though he's absolutely not being authentic in that situation. He's trying to mislead her. Yeah. So I thought it was an improvement for sure.
Yeah. I'll give props where props are due. And, like I said, I feel like he delivered what he needed to deliver in this episode in terms of playing the double sides. So,
yeah, I forget which episode I was listening to you and Jim talking about A.Ron, and you were talking about the leather jacket.
I like the idea that they're supposed to be the janitors, right? But the janitor's walking around looking like Shaft's nephew, like drawing all kinds of attention to himself. Like, Dad, why is the silo's janitor got a leather jacket and black patent leather boots and finely tailored pants and a mock combat turtle deck? Like, why isn't he? Because I know what my janitors look like in school, and they were usually pushing big gray. They had a lot of that weird smelling sawdust when kids would throw up.
Oh, jeez.
They're scraping up gum off the floor. That's what I don't think.
I feel like they're like a little more egalitarian, though, even though, like they're a little bit more on equal footing, even though they still like to villainize Mechanical for being at the bottom. But,
I got a rabbit hole to go down on now, because I think you're showing your age a little bit when you're talking about that sawdust stuff. Like, I would hope that they got something better than that now, but maybe not.
Oh, really? You think they're inventing new things and puke absorbing material? Really? Think the global war on terror is giving us new puke soaking up technology? I don't know.
It's just it's possible. We'll see. So yeah, like I think we get. Yeah,
he says Sim's giving a report. They're all good in Wilson's leather supply.
Yeah, I know. Like I hope that there is an answer about why he has that, because if you think about it, like, they wear coveralls. You know what I mean? Coveralls is the normal thing that a janitor wears in our universe, but in their universe, they wear a black leather. Relic,
is it one of those things where it's like it's a secret police, but it's like secret police like they were in East Germany, where like you're supposed to know they're secret police, and it's like
it's an open secret.
Yeah.
Scarier.
Like, no one says that man in the leather jacket is a scary man and he's a janitor. They're just like, oh, he's a janitor, and he talks to people and they don't ever come back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be that.
Well, next week we will get to see some more Bernard. I feel like that's a safe theory, a safe prediction.
Yeah.
If they do some bullshit like Zig and do a whole episode into Before Times, I'm going to call up my algorithm and say, go ahead and hit the safeguard for my house. I'm out.
No, they have the press images for next week already, so we can kind of see.
All right, good. Because I wasn't looking forward to rage quitting the podcast in the middle of the season. That's a threat I wasn't ready to carry out, but still, you know what I mean?
Did you guys know it was Bernard instantly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I did see a Twitter comment, not knowing though.
As soon as I saw the surgical tint, and I'm like, that's fucking Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some,
and then I heard the cough, and I'm like, for sure it's Bernard.
I definitely had some comments on my video right after it came out with people saying, oh, I wanted to make sure. I thought that was Bernard, but I didn't know, or, things like that. I thought it was him for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to, Burns, 3 months is not a long time for, like, eventually burns do heal pretty
sure,
but 3 months is not. amount of time.
Also, like how much of his and he's down there in the mining void. Like it's not like he's getting state of the art. He's not in a sterile surgical field. Like I would like to know how much of his. You know what? I don't because they're gonna. I'm sure the more I find out about his injuries, the more unbelievable it'd be.
He's in pain. That would
Sure.
Would that be true?
Yeah.
I would think.
I wonder if the nurse has been going down there. Like, do you think the nurse has been going down there to give him medical care? I mean,
I can't
there's no
imagine
way he could just be going cold turkey
in and
right
out
now,
that tunnel.
Maybe that's where Carla is. Maybe she just stays down there all the time.
Maybe
that hadn't occurred to me.
I'm surprised like if he's got 3rd-degree burns on like 30-40% of his body, which seems likely, I don't see how he's alive. Like he should have died of infection probably within a couple days of that happening. But they have at least put some lampshades, or there's a surgical tent, there's medical supplies down there. Maybe
he also had his head wrapped in saran wrap at one time.
Well, but that was just from. I mean, also I saw Sims dump him into a fiery pit. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen.
Well, you didn't see his face. You saw a body, a body shape.
Oh, so you think he did wrap him up in plastic? But
I think he
a different dead body.
He was thinking
the dead body.
It was.
I think he killed someone else and put him in the incinerator.
Oh,
but it's not like. But that's the thing. It's like you can't kill anyone in the silo and get away with it because, like, the head count, right?
You would think so,
unless you grab someone in the mines and maybe they don't keep right, like a prisoner
Wild
in
West.
the mines. I mean,
and didn't they? Yeah, maybe that was the cover of. Well, of course, this was 3 months after, but like, someone died in a mining collapse. So it's like they could have fudged the numbers of people who died, or I don't know. It just still seems like there'd be someone missing. That's not a big enough town to get lost in.
Well, they also said that they were running the incinerators 24/7 for a few days after good old Pete Nichols blew up the staircase. So,
you think Sims went down there and got a corpse and laid it away?
It might have been available based on what we've heard.
And all you need is a freezer, and then there you go. You got a body anytime. Actually, if I was a janitor, I'd every time a mining collapse happened and I had to burn more than 1 or 2 bodies, I'd be like, I'm gonna lay one of these away.
Yeah, just hold on to that. You got the mine. You could just put one in the mines for a while and then go back for it if you need it.
Yeah.
Nothing good going on in the mines.
Because I think everything they showed us happened, right? Like I don't think this is the kind of show.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Like some imaginary dream sequence, like.
Well, my thing was this was Sims telling a story from his perspective, and he was lying about it. So I took this as like something that normally I would say that, but since the whole thing was he was talking to someone hostile that doesn't have, I just assumed he was lying.
Yeah, and that's why I complained about this scene when it came out. And in my mind, when I'm watching a TV show, if a person is thinking himself, like if we're seeing his thoughts, those should be true. So he in my thinking of watching it as a TV viewer, he wrapped plastic around Bernard's head at some time. Now, does he rip it right off after so that he can breathe again and change his mind?
3rd-degree
possibly.
Burn? God damn.
You know what I mean? But like,
that's brutal.
If it's in his head, he shouldn't be like visualizing the lie he's telling to someone else. He should be thinking about what actually happened. And in that, we see Bernard very clearly, Tim Robbins, get his head wrapped by Sims with plastic.
Wait, I'm also reading that covering a burn with plastic wrap is like a temporary first aid measure. So that might have actually
so he just
good for him.
He just did that real fast.
Yeah,
so
it keeps air off the skin to
reduce
reduce pain and protects the wound from infection. So
it's just like
that might have actually
Dr. Robbie want to hire him right to the department. I love his saran wrap technique on burn victims. Get him in here.
That is
tag him, treat him and street him, baby.
Like that is a pit solution right there. It's like, well, nothing that's supposed to work, we learned in school is going to work, but if you wrap this saran wrap around him, there's a chance if you do it exactly right that he'll survive.
Well, because maybe he wanted to almost like do a kidnapping method. I don't know, and then And then, that's a question too. If he switches out the bodies somewhere with some other body, like when would he have done that? Like before they ever start moving or towards the bottom, the incinerators? Like, did he have to move his saran wrapped body down
and
20
like how
floors
much
and then
planning,
they swapped it out?
I hope we
how much
find
planning
out.
do you have to do for that? I do think, okay. One detail I think is interesting is the porters hoofing Bernard's body down in full like hazmat decontamination gear.
Six porters, 6 days or 6 hours, something like that.
Yeah, and he was wrapped up with protect. I wonder if Sims is going to use this justification to be like, no one else is allowed in the room with Bernard but me. I'll take all the risk, and that's when it's give him an arbitrary amount of time to do whatever fucking thing he wants to do. Because that's the other thing is like, so think about what we're saying. Bernard, comes in. Him and Juliette spend however many time in the drying cycle. Buzzer goes off. Door opens up. They get them all out. Bernard is miraculously alive. Juliette's burnt a little bit where the seals are touching her or whatever. Like how long? I guess like I was about to say like Sims would have to have a plan ready to go, right? But I guess Bernard could have lingered on for a while. But then how many people would know he's alive? I don't know.
Yeah,
this is the game we play on Silo every week.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have to explain it. Like I saw a comment right before we started this where someone was saying some like going on about different things, and I said my answer was they're just gonna probably have to explain all those things. Yeah. They haven't yet, but I think that they understand that they need to. And I know you said you had to have a hard out of here, A.Ron.
Yeah, I do need to be. I need to get going.
So we're hitting the 2 hour mark. I think we peaked here with this. This anyway. So I think it's a natural thing to call it an evening. We will be back. I don't know what the schedule will look like in the coming weeks, but I want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank A.Ron and Chris. You should follow them. Do you guys want to plug real quick? Just again.
Someone in chat was talking about 3-Body Problem. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's coming out. It said it's supposed to be released in late 2026. That's going to be. We got to talk about that, Pete. Come over and go ahead. Sorry,
I was going to say they do say that it's coming out, but I haven't seen anything official. I
swear to God, if 3-Body Problem, Neuromancer, and Harry Potter drop on December 24th all at the same time, again, call the algorithm, tell them I want the safeguard. Because geez, man. You remember when there's a nice kind of gap between like mid-November to like 2 or 3 weeks into January, like nothing came out because everybody's like, oh, people are just gonna want to they don't do that anymore. They release everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, come over to baldmove.com if you want to join me and my buddy Jim. We have a good time. We don't like to take things too serious, but we do like to be serious about our analysis. We like to laugh, have a good time. Currently, we're covering Silo. We're covering the House of the Dragons on the Hot D podcast. We have 3 podcasts a week on that, a feedback show, including a live reaction show. And we'll be starting Dark Matter again pretty soon. Certainly 3-Body Problem. Is there anything else I should be excited about?
You guys doing lanterns?
Nah, probably not. Jim's kind of touch and go on Cape shit. And like, I don't even care about the Green Lantern. So.
I know Damon Lindelof is attached to it.
Oh, is he? Okay, you just got my interest, and that's a pretty good lever to move Jim with too.
It's him and Chris Mundy who did Ozark. They're the co-creators, but Lindelof isn't doing the show running. Mundy is.
Oh, it's like a Nurse Betty.
Kind of, yeah. That's what it sounds. It seems like Lindelof lately. It seems like post Watchmen. He's got this thing where he can kind of do as much as he wants, but not have to take on the full show running.
Just he like shows up for the brainstorming sessions and just be like, okay, I'll leave it to the writer's room now.
Yeah,
But
I'm the same way as Jim. Like, I mean, we're almost exactly the same in our not. I mean, I don't hate it on superhero stuff for people who are into it. I just never got into it. So like, it's just one of those things, you know. Like to me, it's just like I don't really get it. But
I'm an old school Marvel Comics nerd, so I came by honestly.
yeah, which so many people have. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, I can't begrudge anyone for getting into stuff when they were younger. You know what I mean? And like it carrying on into the rest of their life. I have plenty of things like that, you know.
Yeah. I feel like Marvel, well, I never was like a comic book reader, but I feel like Marvel, like phase 1 of Marvel just happened to coincide with like very pivotal times in my life. Like I think I watched my first Marvel movie, which was Iron Man 2. For some reason, I watched that first when I was 13. And then Endgame literally was the month I was graduating college. So it just felt like it had this really beautiful bookend for like a very transformative time in my life. But then I feel like my interest like really kind of dropped off after that. I think because it just felt like this natural ending. And then, you know, I had a lot of
stories done.
adult stuff to do in the world. And I feel like I've fallen a little bit behind, but I'll try to get
I've seen the box office results. A lot of America and the world agree with you. So
yeah. I mean,
We'll
we could get into a long
Spider-Man.
discussion there, right? With the TV shows and how that
Yeah.
really diluted it, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, to quickly give my plug, I am Cris Cinema on TikTok, so CRIS Cinema. And yeah, I do like TV recaps, reviews, also like film and like award season stuff. Like I'm talking a lot about like the Emmys coming up. So I always try to be talking about at least like 1 to 2 shows weekly. So right now, Silo and House of the Dragon. So you can follow me there. Someone asked why I'm not on YouTube. I would love to be, just capacity right now. TikTok was just where I started my content creation, but yeah, I would love to do long form eventually so I can like really talk. Like right now, my Silo recaps are only like 5 minutes long because that's what works for TikTok. But happy to do these live so we can go more in depth.
Have you read Fire and Blood? What the House of the Dragon's based on?
I have not. I'm a little bit more of a casual viewer, but I just like the show, so I like to give my reactions. But yeah, definitely, I'm not the go-to authority for that. I go to other people.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming out. I would like to thank the everybody else. Like I said, you should definitely follow everyone here. These are people who I talk to off screen about TV. And then also, you know, I've been on A.Ron's podcast several times. Sometimes whenever that one of them isn't around, I'll step in and help out. And they've been on tons of streams for me here. So definitely extended family. Check out their stuff. We will be back next week. This will be a different lineup, but we'll be looking forward to seeing what happens with Bernard and seeing how things go. So thanks for watching, and